Welcome back to They Reminisce Over You, a podcast that takes a nostalgic look back at the best in music, movies, and TV from the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. I'm Miguel.
And I'm Christina. And today we're going to get into someone whose career has spanned across hip-hop, R&B, and pop music. He also helped to bring Atlanta and Southern culture to the forefront at a time when people weren't really checking for it. Y'all know what this is?
So deaf. We're talking about Jermaine Dupri on this episode. So are you ready to just get into it?
Let's do it.
All right, so before we get into the hits, let's rewind back to the beginning. Before Usher, Mariah, the Brat, even Kris Kross.
So we going way back.
Way back. JD's story actually starts in 1984. Have you heard of the Fresh Fest?
I have not, because if it's 1984, I'm probably still just listening to Olivia Newton-John or whatever my sisters were listening to and not hip-hop.
Got it. So the Fresh Fest was the first national hip-hop tour. All the heavy hitters that were out at the time, Run DMC, Fat Boys, Grandmaster Flash, Curtis Blow, Houdini. Like I said, all the biggest names in hip hop were on this tour. It was founded by a guy from Atlanta who also went on to found the Universal Circus, if any of you guys know that. But JD's dad was working on this tour as well. And while they were looking for an opening act to just come out and waste 5 to 10 minutes before the show actually starts, JD's dad got him the gig to just come out and dance.
Like a family party?
Yeah, basically. Get out there and show him what you can do, boy.
Show his little moves.
Yeah. And he said he would come out and dance to It's Time for like 5 minutes. He didn't have like a set routine. He would just come out there and freestyle it.
All right.
And you know how it is when little kids are dancing. It's like, look at that little boy go.
Right.
So he was that kid on the Fresh Fest tour. And he did that for the first three, 85, 86, and 87. And that's how he ended up dancing in the Freaks Come Out at Night video for Houdini.
How old was he?
12.
Okay. He is up way past his bedtime.
Yes. Going on a national tour at 12 years old.
Dancing to The Freaks Come Out at Night. So, as you were saying, he did this for 3 tours.
Yes.
So, he went from a dancing kid to a dancing teenager.
Yeah.
Right. But then, after this, he became Jermaine Dupri, the producer, at 15?
Almost. So, in one of those years of doing the tour, MC Shy D was like, you can't just keep coming out here and dancing. You need to add a rap to this.
Do something.
Yeah, do something else. So he wrote a rap for him called I'm JD, It's Me. So he would come out and do this little rap and do the dance along with it. And he also taught him how to write raps at this point too. So now he's trying to get his own writing going. And this is how we start to get to Jermaine Dupri, the producer.
All right.
He ends up making friends with the girlfriends of Houdini because they're just kind of there kicking it and hanging out. So he said, hey, y'all should let me do your album. I can write and produce an album on y'all. And they're like, okay, listening to a 15-year-old.
At least he wasn't 12 when he suggested this.
Yeah. So he says he's hanging out with them back in Atlanta. He said they used to pick him up, take him to the mall and hang out with him and whatnot. And he decides he wants to make a record. So he used some of his father's connections to say, hey, I want to make a record. Can you teach me how to make some beats? And these people agreed to it. He didn't like what they were doing. So he took the money that he made from writing and producing their entire album to invest in his own drum machines so he could make his own beats. And that's where the story starts.
So did they have the name Silk Times Leather already? Like when they were the girlfriends, or was that something I
don't know if he came up with the name, but he wrote and did the beats for their album.
Okay.
He didn't physically do it, but he told the studio engineer what to do.
He was a supervisor?
Yeah.
Music supervisor?
Basically. He was a producer in the traditional sense, where he's telling you, I want this beat here, I want this here. But at 15, he still shouldn't know how to do this.
Right.
Have you heard any of their music?
I haven't. I only know them by name just because of Nas and Kris Kross basically mentioning them in their songs.
Well, I think we should listen to some Silk Times Leather. And this is their first song. Now, this song is called The Woman in Me, written by a 15-year-old Jermaine Dupri.
Talking about the woman in me?
Yes.
He's not even a man, so how does he talk about the woman in me? That's funny. Sounds like early rap.
Yeah.
Not bad for a 15-year-old's production, or at least direction.
Yes. So that's what he was doing at 15 years old. So that leads to him being known as I know somebody who's got a studio.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't really have a studio. He had like a drum machine and a turntable in his closet.
In his bedroom?
Yeah, in his mama's house.
Right.
But he's known as the studio guy.
Because I doubt anybody else had anything similar at the time.
At least nobody in his age group.
Yeah, he's more accessible.
Yeah, exactly. So he set this studio up in his bedroom with his turntables and his drum machine. And a guy by the name of Ian Burke, he was managing local artists, would always bring people over to his house. Like, hey, go ahead and rap for Jermaine. He can do something with you. One of the people that he brought over was Lisa Left Eye Lopez. She moves in, basically.
Into his closet.
His mama don't know she's living in the closet.
I don't understand how that works.
He said that she would just wait until his mama left, and then she would come outside and do stuff. And then when his mama came back, she would be back in the bedroom and just wouldn't come out until the next day.
So if she had to go to the bathroom, she'd just hold it?
I guess. So Left Eye's at his house. Eventually, he brings over a girl named Tion and another named Crystal, who are the T and the C in the original TLC.
Yes, because Crystal is not chilly.
Yes. She got the boot eventually.
Yeah.
So basically, he'd had all of these people being brought to him to say, hey, let's try and make something happen.
So he's basically forming So Def without realizing he's forming So Def?
Pretty much. So the money from the Silk Times Leather album funded him buying his own equipment so he can now make his own beats instead of trying to explain to engineer what he wants. One day he's hanging out at the mall with the DJ from Silk Times Leather, and he sees these two little kids with a crowd following. He's thinking these are like some Disney Channel kids or some Nickelodeon kids.
Somebody.
No, they're just two kids chilling in the mall. And he goes up to them and is like, so who are y'all? What do you do? And their response is like, nothing. We just cool.
Well, first of all, this is a different time because I don't know if people let their 10 and 11-year-olds just wander around a mall by themselves anymore.
Well, apparently one of them's mom was with them.
Okay.
But still, they're being followed by random kids in the mall for no reason.
I remember him saying in another interview, like he was getting free cookies.
Yeah, they're giving him cookies
at whatever the cookie shop.
Right. And he just saw how they were interacting with people. And so he went back to him a second time. And now they're like, who is this creepy dude following us? And what do you want?
Because at least the other people are giving them cookies.
Right. He's just being a creep. But luckily, one of the Chris's moms recognized the DJ from Silk Times Leather because they had just done like a Ebony magazine or Jet magazine or something like that. Yeah. But she recognized her and was like, oh, he ain't a creep. This might be legit. Y'all need to listen to it.
Right.
And that's how he ends up meeting Kris Kross.
Just two cool little kids walking around the mall.
Yeah, we just cool. We don't do nothing.
On one hand, that sounds like something a kid would say. But on the other hand, it's like, how these little kids got swagger to say something like that?
Yeah, I remember him saying that they had more swag than he had at the time. And he's like 16 or 17.
Just think about how awkward you were when you were like 11. And imagine like just a stranger coming up to you and being like, who are you? And you'd be like, I don't know.
Exactly.
Why are you talking to me?
But nah, these two are like, we just cool. So now he's got Kris Kross, an early version of TLC.
But he only ended up signing Kris Kross though, right?
Yes. He said that he had the opportunity to sign TLC, but because he didn't actually have a record label at the time.
Or a real studio.
They also met Pebbles around the same time. So they ended up taking a meeting with her. And he says that Left Eye called and was like, hey, we just got offered this record deal. Should we take it? And he was like, yeah, take that. Because he's thinking, I can do some beats on their album, make some more money, get some more equipment, and just do this all over again.
Right.
So they signed with LaFace, and he got 2 songs and a couple remixes on their first album. And he also said that for whatever reason, him being a dude, he just related to the boys more.
Right. I mean, he's only a few years older than them.
And he's like, yeah, I'm going to focus on them. And TLC wasn't getting the attention that they thought they should get. So they're like, all right, we'll take this other opportunity. So after Totally Crossed Out blows up, Sony was like, you know what? We're going to give you the money to start your own imprint.
That's crazy.
At 19 years old. Because I think the album went like 6 times platinum or something.
They were big. I
Yes.
don't remember exactly, but they were big.
And that funded So So Def moving forward. Mm-hmm. And since you were the target demo for Kris Kross, what role did this album play in your life at this point?
Well, we are literally the same age, I believe, like born in the same year.
That sounds about right.
So this was like basically perfect entry point into hip hop music.
Yeah.
They're literally the same age.
Right.
And they're cute. So it's like, oh, like I'm not looking at a man. Like,
right.
These are my peers. And I've told you this story before, and I'm pretty sure I've said it on the podcast too, how my mom's friends had some teenage boys who were older than me, and they'd like, sometimes they just give me some of like their old stuff or whatever.
Right.
And somehow they had some like, I remember it was a copied tape of NWA. And I remember listening to it being like,
okay.
So it got into my hands a little too early. But basically, Totally Crossed Out is like listening to Baby NWA. I mean, they even have the Little Boys in the Hood sample.
Right.
And like the production is literally like any other hip hop record. It just was little kids who happen to be rapping on it. But it's not like kids bop.
Right.
Like if he had given these beats or raps to an adult, it would have sounded like it was an actual hip hop song.
Yeah.
But because they were kids, it was kind of like, oh, kiddie rap. But when you're listening to it, they're rapping their asses off. Production, like I said, is just like any other hip hop album. So this was a perfect entry into rap music because it was age appropriate. But it was funny because I was re-listening to the album earlier, and I did notice in one song that one of the Chris's said the N-word, and I was like, I don't remember hearing that when I was that young. Because I was like, I thought they didn't do that until the second album, at least.
I don't remember because the first album, because I was 17 when it came out.
Yeah, so you're a little too old.
Yeah, like Jump was undeniable.
Yeah.
Like it don't matter who made that record, a 10-year-old or a 30-year-old, that was a hard record.
Yeah.
But the rest of the album, it didn't really work for me. Like I Missed the Bus, I couldn't get into that. But Jump and Warm It Up, I was cool with those two.
Yeah, and they came out starting beef. Don't compare us to another bad little fad.
Yes.
So they kept hip hop alive in this album.
They did.
And so for someone like me who was young and didn't really listen to rap or hip hop before, it was like I didn't know that I was basically getting introduced to all the important elements of hip hop. So like lyrics, DJs, like the beats, everything. So definitely left an impact on me. I think the other thing that was interesting about it is he did let them stay kids.
Right.
Even though he wanted them to be like these hard little kids. But, you know, it was appropriate to have songs like I Miss the Bus, because what else are they going to talk about, right?
Because they don't know anything else.
Yeah.
Like they are little boys in the hood,
right?
But they're still in elementary school.
Yeah. The one other interesting tidbit I found when I went to Wikipedia was the video for Jump was directed by a filmmaker by the name of Rich Murray. And it went to #1 on MTV and sold over 100,000 copies as a VHS video single.
Oh,
that's like in this day and age, it's
right.
Like what? 100,000 copies
that's
of
wild.
A VHS tape of one video?
That is crazy.
I did not even know that was a thing, that you could get a video single.
Yeah. I knew that there were like fuller compilations of like the full albums videos and whatnot, but I didn't know that you could get a single, especially on VHS.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
100,000 people did.
I guess.
Yeah, but they were huge. And I just remember seeing them like on A Different World and Living Color. So they were doing like booking adult shows.
They opened for Michael Jackson.
They went on tour with Michael Jackson. Like he really came out the gate with these two little kids.
Yes.
So based on the success of this album and his upbringing, you would think that he would continue this and do another rap album or another rap act. Instead, he gave us something else.
Yeah, he went in a completely different direction and did an R&B group by the name of Xscape. So what were your thoughts on this album? Because I know you're a huge Xscape fan.
I am.
So how did this translate for you?
I was all over just kicking it when it first came out. And just remember this song, because I'm going to come back to this song when we talk about him later in his career.
Okay.
But I mean, I don't remember what came before or what came first. But this was just around the time where the style for girls, because I think he mentioned that he was like the first person to style girls this way. But I remember like Aaliyah had this look, but just the whole, tomboy, baggy jeans. I mean, TLC was doing it too. So in terms of like their aesthetic, I was like, ooh, I'm into this. But at the same time, they were also young too.
Yeah.
They weren't as young as Kris Kross, but they were young enough to feel like I could relate to them.
Right.
So it's just like, these young girls that I could relate to, and they just seemed like fun, and they were cool, and like I said, the first song is just kicking it, so it's kind of like this nice chill groove to introduce you to them. And then they come out with Understanding. You're like, oh, these girls can sing.
Yeah.
Like, they're en vogue in baggy jeans.
Basically. I saw an interview he did where he was saying that he knew he couldn't get that audience that En Vogue had.
Right.
Because they were older, they were more established, and in his words, they looked like everything about them cost millions of dollars. Whereas he got $400,000 to spend on Kris Kross, Xscape, and starting his own label.
Right.
So he knew he couldn't compete on that level with them. So it had to be about the songs and the music.
Yeah, and then their third single was Love on My Mind, and that's like a more up-tempo one. So like their first three singles kind of gave us something a little bit different, a well-rounded view into what Xscape was about.
Right.
So it's not quite a no-skip album for me, but overall it's a solid album.
But he didn't stay in the R&B lane for too long because it was time for Kris Kross to drop their second album.
Yeah, you got to ride that wave.
Yeah. And these are the songs that I was more into when it came to Kris Kross. So the second and third albums. It's a little more mature. The production's a little bit better.
Their voices have matured. They're still kids, but they don't sound like little kids anymore.
But this is also where we get introduced to his next act on Kris Kross's song, The Bomb. We meet the Brat.
The first time I heard her on The Bomb, I thought she was another little boy.
I can see that.
So can we drop the bomb? And I was like, oh, that's a girl and she's not a child.
Yeah, I can see it. Because she was very aggressive and rapping in the style of what was popular at the time, which was completely different from what she ended up doing when her album came out.
A lot more chilled out.
Yeah.
She went from like Onyx to Snoop.
Right. Pretty much. But that ended up working for her, even though Snoop and the folks over at Death Row had an issue with it. And they kind of mocked her in the What Would You Do video by the Dog Pound, where Brat lookalike walks past Snoop and he's like, what the fuck? And then the song just starts. But yeah,
it didn't hurt her.
It didn't. It didn't. And eventually he ends up working with her too.
Right.
So it was all good.
Yeah.
But the Functified album is probably where I really started to pay attention to Jermaine, the producer, because it was a lot of live instrumentation, but it was interpolations of well-known samples. Like Functified is Between the Sheets, but it was a little more mellow and more hip-hop-ish. Like, oh, it's like a hip-hop cover band, basically. What'd you think about Functified?
I mean, I liked it because it almost felt like an extension of Kris Kross in a way, even though the style was different, but it was kind of went hand in hand. Yeah, I think I was too young to really appreciate like, ooh, Jermaine Dupri, the producer.
Right.
It was just like, oh, there he is again. And
yeah,
there's this one. And it was just kind of like they were all sort of like a crew, basically.
Yeah, because the thing with him is it started with TLC because he's grooving his ass off in the TLC videos.
And see, the thing is, I don't think I noticed him that much then. I think for me, when I started to notice him was Kris Kross.
Yeah, because I remember the TLC stuff. I obviously didn't know who he was. Like, who's this little dude just all over the place?
Right.
And then I see him again with Kris Kross. And I'm starting to connect the dots like, oh, maybe he's got something to do with TLC. He's got something to do with Kris Kross because now he's in their videos. And then when the Brat comes out, it's like, oh, he's the mastermind of all of this stuff.
I didn't really understand how that kind of stuff worked then. It was just like, I like this song and I like this person. Oh, and this person's on this person's song. So I guess I'll listen to theirs. And it was just discovery, I guess. What I do like about Kris Kross's The Bomb album is they gave us a nice little summer barbecue jam with All Right.
Yes. I'm always running around doing Super Cat's
Yes.
part. Hold tight, everybody hold tight. Yeah, I've been loving that for 30 years, 30 plus years now.
And I imagine you would like driving around with that song.
Well, I didn't have a car.
Oh.
Yes. But my friend's uncle, he's just a couple years older than us. And he had a system in his car, so he would be playing that kind of shit. And we'd just be in the back seat grooving to it. So I had a car by extension.
Okay.
I was a backseat guy.
All right. So you had no choice in the music?
Not at all. But like I said, he's only a couple years older than us, so
right.
He was listening to the same shit.
Okay.
So at this point, he's showing his versatility as a producer. He's doing hip hop and R&B, not just for so deaf artists, but remixes for Bobby Brown, TLC, Run DMC. But it was the remix for Usher's Think of You that led to a 30-year partnership that's still going on.
Well, before we get into Usher, because that's going to be a little bit later.
Yes.
Let's talk about his next project that put him in a totally new place.
Yes.
He produced Always Be My Baby for superstar Mariah Carey at the time. She already had 3 huge albums at this point. So this is a big step for him.
So that's a good place for us to take a break, and we'll be right back. Hi, kids. Do you like fun?
Yeah.
We're starting a monthly newsletter called Liner Notes. We'll be sharing what we're watching, what we're listening to, throwback YouTube videos, updates on our upcoming projects, random shit you may have missed on the internet, stuff like that. The link is in the show notes, or you can go to troypodcast.com/newsletter. Do it.
Now,
it's good for you.
It'll make your teeth whiter.
And back to the show. All right, we are back.
We are back, and I don't know why I just repeated you, but as we had mentioned before the break, Always Be My Baby was, as they say, a game changer.
Yes.
For Jermaine Dupri, for sure, but also for Mariah Carey.
Yes.
And I would also say for pop music
as
well. She was already a huge star at this point, but now we know what Mariah Carey is like on the inside.
Yes, we didn't know it then. She
doesn't want to be a pop princess.
No. We didn't know that then, though.
We didn't know that then. So JD was able to give her something fresh, something she hadn't done before.
Yeah.
And remember I said, I'm going to come back to Xscape, just kicking it. So she wanted him to do something for her because she liked just kicking it.
Right.
So she's like, I want something like that. But her initial request was, I want to sing over this beat. And this beat was Wu-Tang's Cream.
She wants to be doing a song over Cream.
Yeah. Now it's not so shocking.
Yes.
But at the time, we didn't know this about her. He didn't know this about her. He's like, no. He's like, I'm not going to be the one to like maybe ruin your career with this song or something. Like he was just like, I don't want to be responsible for this. Although he did say he did eventually try to make a song for her with a Cream beat, but it just didn't work. He said in the interview on the R&B Money podcast with Tank and Jay Valentine that she basically comes to the studio like she's the rapper. Yeah.
Which is crazy, but it makes so much sense now.
Yeah, now we know what Mariah's really like. But at the time, she was Vision of Love.
Exactly.
Someday. I mean, I think we got a little glimpse of it with Dream Lover, but...
Yeah, but it still wasn't...
Very pop.
Yeah, it wasn't over on the hip-hop side or even the R&B side just yet, but...
It's a tinge.
Yeah.
A peak.
Always Be My Baby is like a shiny version of Xscape.
And then he also did a remix to that too, which...
And put them on it.
Yes. So he gave us the pop princess version and then probably the version she prefers.
Exactly. And here it is.
It is.
Yeah, this is a little prettier than what he was doing for Xscape at the time.
Because she's still Mariah Carey.
Yeah. But then that little drum kick right there kind of gives you a hint of what's about to come.
Yeah.
And then once it actually comes in fully, it's like, okay, this is different.
Oh, you're like, hey, this got a little thump to it.
Yeah. This ain't the Mariah we're used to.
I think even with this like do feels a little more urban, shall they say.
Yes. A little more street. So, yeah.
It went to number 1 on the Hot 100, which, as we've mentioned before, Hot 100 is any genre.
Yes, all
music.
of them.
So it has to be pretty popular for an R&B song to go number 1 on the Hot 100,
Right.
and it stayed there for 2 weeks.
Especially in 1994.
Yeah, there was later on that year. What was it, 2004, where it was a black artist for like the entire year,
except for like 3 weeks,
right? Or something. I don't even remember, but yeah, at this time that was a big deal. Maybe not so much for Mariah because she's always on the Hot 100, but
well,
for an R&B song and for Jermaine Dupri, that was a big deal.
Yeah.
And one of her best songs.
Yeah, to this day.
Yeah. So this opened the doors for him in terms of just going beyond hip hop, but also just more major Mariah collabs later. Even though he was able to dip his toe into the pop world, there was still a lot of R&B and hip hop acts that he would work with in the late 90s and early 2000s. And again, like a wide variety still, even within the genre. You got Jagged Edge, you got another little kid rapper, Bow Wow, you got Anthony Hamilton.
A lot of people don't remember that Anthony Hamilton was even on So Def.
I didn't either. And I was like, oh, Anthony Hamilton, that's a totally different sound.
It is.
Everybody else too. Also, he did one song off of, I think 1 or 2, but this one particular off of Destiny's Child's first album.
Okay.
With Me Part 1. Is this the first album or the second album? I can't remember.
You're asking
I think
the wrong person.
I think it's the first one. But this is actually one of my favorite Destiny's Child songs.
Okay.
Part 1 specifically, because Part 2 has Master P on it. So throughout the whole, I can't with but I think you might actually like that version better just because of the beat.
I'm gonna have to check it out when we're done.
But there is Holla if you hear me.
Yeah, I'm not well versed in any Destiny's Child if it wasn't a single.
It was a single, but
okay, I'm not well versed in any Destiny's Child
that wasn't a huge single.
A out the box single.
So Survivor.
I know Survivor.
Soldier.
I know all of those. I know
Lose My Breath.
No.
So DC3.
Well, I know some of the early 4.
No.
Yeah. So I know that stuff, but it's got to be a big hit.
Yeah. So back to Jermaine. I was looking at his Wikipedia, and they have his discography listed by years, and it is long.
Yes.
So what they have listed is from 1993 to 2021, and there are entries every single year, except for 2013 and 2016, but I didn't confirm how correct they are because, Wikipedia isn't always right. But I will say, sidebar, Wikipedia seems so much more factual now than these horrible AI summaries.
Yeah.
But I digress. But you did mention to me earlier that the Wikipedia is actually incomplete.
Yes.
So there is much more that he's worked on.
Because there was a lot of things like album cuts that weren't on that list.
Right.
That I know for a fact that he did within those years.
So despite the very long discography and many projects, there is one major project that I would like to circle back to.
Okay.
And that is the 1997 My Way album, where he helped to reinvent Usher.
Yes. So basically everything that he had learned up to that point led him to molding Usher into the Usher that we now know. He got the call to do the remix for Think of You. And this is at a time when L.A. Reid is thinking about dropping Usher because they're working on new music for him, but it's not connecting because his voice is changing.
They couldn't wait like 6 months to see what happens.
Hey, the music business is fickle.
They could just, hold on to him for a bit.
You would think so, but I guess not. But JD gets the call to do the remix, and he wanted Usher to come in and re-sing the bridge because the rest of the song is exactly the same in terms of the vocals, but he wanted him to re-sing the bridge. And when he sent the song back, LA is like, what did you do? Because we've been trying to get him to do that for like a year now. And he's like, I don't know. He just did what I told him to. Which leads to him now working on Usher's next album because LA is like, I want you to do the next one.
You can work with this voice of his.
Right. You can work with the voice. And he sat down with JD, and Jermaine asked him what did he want to be. And he says, I want to take Bobby Brown's spot. So they took Bobby Brown's My Prerogative and channeled it into my way. Like, this is me doing what I want to do the way I want to do it.
Right.
Unlike his previous album, which came across like a younger version of Jodeci.
Right. But it wasn't that convincing
Yeah.
because he was too young to do some of that material.
It didn't connect because he was fat face Usher at the time.
Baby face Usher.
He still had those chubby cheeks.
Those chubby cheeks. He's a little too cute still.
So it wasn't
to be singing some of those songs.
Yeah, so it wasn't convincing. We mentioned this when we did the episode about Usher. Most of the production on that album was handled by the Sex Pest over at Bad Boy.
Which would see absolutely nothing wrong with this kid talking about, let me take off all your clothes.
And Chucky Thompson and the early Hitmen.
Yeah.
And Jermaine said this in an interview that I watched. It was like he was trying to create a young version of Jodeci rather than the first Usher. And that's where it kind of fell short.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could see that. I'm just thinking about how he was styled and just the songs and stuff.
So working with Jermaine, it kind of gave Usher songs that matched where he was as a young 18, 19-year-old man versus a 13-year-old.
Right.
And the writing came from real life experiences. Right. Because I know with You Make Me Wanna, which Jermaine said he hated, by the way. Usher hated at the time.
Oh.
But of course, he's watching Usher has an issue with a girlfriend and he's thinking about a relationship that he had. He hooked his female friend up with another friend of his, and he's having these same thoughts. And he's like, I got it. This is the song.
What's interesting about this song and even some of the other songs he wrote on this album, so even though he was moving Usher away from like a more hip-hop sound, his writing style, which I never even noticed until he mentioned it on that R&B Money podcast. He said he would write the songs as if he was writing rap lyrics. So I was like, oh, that's why he's like singing so fast in a way. Right. It's like, you make me want to leave the one I'm with, start a new relationship with you. And I was like, oh, that is like a rap song.
Yeah.
Like nice and slow, 7:00 on the dot. I'm in my drop top cruising the streets. Like, that's rap.
Yeah, basically.
So You Make Me Wanna was the first single. But speaking of nice and slow.
Yeah, that's the one dropped, that took Usher from young popular guy to superstar. He was out of here after that one. And it's like, oh, he's an adult now.
Right. Wasn't this the video where he had Kimora Lee Simmons? Remember one of his videos, we had talked about this, where she was kidnapped and they put her in a cage.
Yes.
Oh, and he had to go rescue her.
Yeah.
These music videos were so much back then.
Yeah.
Always trying to make like these little mini movies and stuff. It's like, what does this have to do with 7:00 in my drop top?
Oh man, I forgot about that.
Yeah, they put Kimora in a cage.
She was in a cage her hands and knees.
Yeah, not even like a big person cage.
No,
like
an animal
dog,
cage.
like something you would put a dog in. It's like, damn, they got Kimora in a cage.
Oh man, I'm looking at it now. And now Usher's doing kung fu.
It was a different time.
He's beating up henchmen shirtless.
As everyone in the America's Next Top Model documentary kept saying, it was a different time.
Yes, it certainly was. And there's the explosions. Him and Kimora escaping on a motorcycle.
At least she was saved, I guess.
Yeah, and now they're commiserating back at his place with the puppy.
Everything's fine now. She's out of the dog cage.
Yes. Oh, man.
Yeah, so I got so much information out of this R&B Money podcast because it was 3 hours long.
Yeah,
and there were so many things that they didn't even touch on, too.
Yeah, it took me a few days to get through it. I couldn't sit through it all at once.
Same. So this turned Usher into this little kid that can sing to someone who's like, oh, no, he's going to be the star.
Yeah.
And he'll be able to headline himself. And this worked because Jermaine Dupri seems to focus on not trying to copy other styles, even like his own stuff. Like, even though he has a signature sound, he tries to let the artists dictate what they want.
Right.
And then he gives it to them. And then he also allows them to show range. So even within that album, you hear all these different types of songs. So it's like he could do up-tempo, he could do mid-tempo, he could do ballads.
He can dance around in a junkyard with Tyrese.
And save Kimura from a cage.
Save Kimura from being in a dog cage.
All while being a R&B male superstar.
Yes. And that's the formula that basically took over the next 10 years in R&B music, was what him and Usher did on that album. And I remember seeing him say that he doesn't think that his songwriting is anything special. He just thinks that having something relatable to talk about and having a singer that can pull it off and be believable is the difference with what he does and what other people do.
Yeah. I mean, he made it too believable at times because he had Chili out here mad at Usher.
Yes.
Thinking he's cheated on her when he's just singing JD's life story.
Right.
Like,
those were Jermaine's confessions.
Yes, Jermaine's confessions. Just listen, the times and locations don't add up. This is Jermaine's story. So at this point, he's helped Usher create this new version of himself. He's done the Mariah Carey thing, increasing his profile there, and also just helping tons of these other artists. Like even before that, he had huge successes. But now he's not just a producer. He's a brand. He's an artist.
Yes.
So this is when we start seeing that So So Def logo everywhere. Like now you don't just know the artist. You know So So Def.
Y'all know what this is. Yeah, so that's when he decides, all right, it's time to drop my own album. He was giving us little teases here and there because he rapped on the Kris Kross albums. He rapped on the Bratz albums. He was always doing the ad-libs on Usher and Mariah. So now it's time for him to step out and make his own music.
He still did continue to collab with other artists on this album, but he was collaborating with them as a rapper and not necessarily just a producer.
Right. And of course, we know what the first single was, Money Ain't a Thing, with a guy by the name of Sean Carter,
AKA Jay-Z with the umlaut and the dash.
Jay-Z, who wasn't the Jay-Z that we were going to find out about 3 years later. But this is right when his ascent was starting as well, post Reasonable Doubt.
Right.
So the record with Jay-Z, that sounded like this is the So So Def mission statement. This is what we do. This is what we're about. Money ain't a thing. We young, we fly, we flashy, which he named one of his albums later. And it was just him planting the So So Def flag and saying, this is what we do. This is Atlanta, and it's time for us to get acknowledged, basically.
I remember seeing something, an interview, reading something. I can't remember. Maybe we were just talking, but there were criticisms that he didn't have an Atlanta sound. But at the time, as we were saying, even though he had his own signature sound, I feel like he was more focused on creating music that the artists wanted to make. So I think there's a difference between like giving the artist what they want versus giving the artist your beat.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
But also, as you were saying, no, you were telling me this, like if he was touring with all these New York artists when he was young, he's going to get these other influences.
Yeah, that's where his basis comes from. And then he lived in New York for a year.
Yeah.
So he's ingesting all of this.
And like with his first big act being Kris Kross, and Kris Kross is listening to existing rap music and they're telling him, we want that.
Right.
So he's going to make them songs that sound like Ice Cube. He's going to make them songs that sound like, I don't know, Naughty by Nature or whatever, like things that they listen to and want to sound like.
And while he doesn't have a quote unquote Atlanta sound, he always repped Atlanta.
Yeah.
He let you know that this is Atlanta.
Yeah. It's interesting because today Atlanta is like synonymous with hip hop.
Yeah, it's basically the center of hip hop.
Yeah. Kendrick Lamar told a certain person that he
did.
runs to Atlanta when he needs a check balance. He didn't say he runs to New York.
It's true. It's true. Everything is based out of Atlanta these days. And Jermaine was the start of that.
Yeah.
You didn't have to go to LA to get a hit record. You don't have to go to
Jermaine's
New
bedroom.
York. You go to Jermaine's bedroom. By this point, he had moved into another house, so he had a bigger house with a real studio in it, and not just in his closet.
Without somebody living in his closet.
Yeah, not with Left Eye sleeping on his sneakers in the closet. But he did give people the blueprint on how to be successful.
Right.
He's writing songs for people. He's producing songs for people. Now he's got his own label. He's finding new artists and making them stars. but at the same time, he kept evolving as well.
Yeah, like he's still out here collaborating with younger artists and like experimenting with new sounds and just showing up to celebrate the culture.
Yeah, because I told you how I was listening to the new Ari Lennox song that he just did that came out like 2 weeks ago.
Right.
I'm sitting on the couch grooving to it last night. So yeah, he's still out here working with younger people 30 years after working with young people in Atlanta.
And like releasing his own albums too. That last one, maybe a year ago, the one with Currency?
Well, that was about 2 years ago.
2 years
He
ago, okay.
did the album with Currency, but he's got one out that just came out because he produced a documentary about Magic City.
Yes.
And he did the soundtrack. So that just came out recently as well.
I like the one with Currency.
Yeah,
Nice
that album's
vibe.
good. Yeah, I kept that in rotation for a minute. I
Yes,
might have to
you did.
put it back on my phone.
And it's short, so
Yeah.
it's like get out.
Exactly. It's like 8 or 9 songs.
Right.
So yeah, he basically gave us a look of what Atlanta could be. And now look at what Atlanta is. Like Andre said, the South got something to say.
And he might not have said it if JD didn't open the door.
He wouldn't have had the opportunity to even say that if it weren't for Jermaine Dupri. And that's a good spot for us to take another break, and we'll be right back. This is They Reminisce Over You. I'm Miguel.
And I'm Christina. We wanted to take a minute to make a small request of all our listeners. If you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Goodpods, or Podchaser, leave us a 5-star rating. You can also leave a review as well on Apple, Goodpods, and Podchaser. Ratings and reviews will help us with discoverability, and we want to get this out to as many like-minded folks as we can,
We want to get on the first page of these podcast apps.
and to move up on the charts as well. So help us get the word out.
Make sure to follow and interact with us on social media. Also, check out our website, troypodcast.com. It's where we post links to a lot of the things that we mentioned in the show, as well as transcripts and themed playlists that supplement our episodes and more.
Thank you again for your support.
Okay, and we are back. We've been talking about Jermaine Dupri and all of the hits that he's written for people. But I think we should talk about some of the lesser known songs. This doesn't mean that the songs aren't as good. It just means that they're album cuts or remixes or something. So what are some of your favorites?
So I'm going with Girlfriend
Okay.
by Alicia Keys on her first album, Songs in A minor.
I didn't even know that was a JD song until a few days ago.
You know what? I didn't remember it was until I saw it too, and I was like, oh yeah, because I think he's on, like, a little ad lib or
Right.
something. But just like Usher's "Think of You," you know why I like this song?
The sample.
Yes, it samples ODB's Brooklyn Zoo. And then Alicia Keys was, she came out hot too.
She did.
So I was all over this album. So that's one. That's an album cut that I like. And then I can't believe Usher's "One Day You'll Be Mine" is an album cut. I had to like double check. And I'm sure I did this when we did the Usher album too. And I probably forgot again. I'm like, you sure that wasn't a single? Because it's such
It
a
wasn't.
fan favorite
Yeah,
that it's just like, how is that not a single?
it wasn't a single.
But that's my favorite album cut off of the My Way album. And of course, I got to take it back to Kris Kross, Totally Crossed Out.
Okay.
Little Boys in the Hood,
Oh, man.
because I'm basically listening to Lil Eazy-E. But that was an album cut as well.
It was.
What about you?
I'm going way left field with this one.
Okay.
From the American Gangster soundtrack,
Hmm?
Fallen by Jay-Z. That doesn't sound like anything that Jermaine had done up to that point. It's very like boom bap type production. And that's one of my favorite songs on that album. Another one, I'm going with Usher as well,
Mhm.
but I'm going to say Good Old Ghetto. Ghetto, ghetto, ghetto. So I like that one. I was going to say One Day You'll Be Mine,
Mhm.
but you've already said it.
I stole it.
You did.
Shouldn't have let me go first.
Damn you. That's all right. You didn't have this one, though. Anthony Hamilton, Mama Knew Love.
I did not have that one.
So that's another one. That's another deep cut. One more. It was a single, but like I was telling you before, don't nobody care about this song but me. It's Jermaine Dupri and Keith Sweat,
I
Going
can't
Home
even
With
think
Me.
of, you know what? I can't even think of the song, but I remember seeing it when I was looking at like the list of stuff he's done, and I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, that's not with Keith Sweat.
I'm going to play it for you right now.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about this song.
Yeah, this is one of my favorites. You going home with me.
This was a single, though.
It was.
Right? Okay.
But I'm going to do it anyway because, like I said,
You're a cheater.
Don't nobody care about that record but me. You didn't remember it.
I didn't.
So I'm going with that one, too.
Yeah.
You got any more that you wanted to
Not
drop
at
in
this
there?
time. I didn't get a chance to go as deep as I wanted to. But I was like, let me just get at least 3 I can bring to the table.
All of these and more will be on the playlist that we're putting together as well. It's going to be like a week-long playlist because this man got hits. 30 years of hits.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I guess we can kind of tie all this stuff together.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, we've been talking about the hits, the not so hits, the album cuts, the remixes. When it's all said and done, what do you think his legacy is?
Album-wise, I would say Usher's Confessions and The Emancipation of Mimi, because those were eras.
Yeah.
And those were like peak. Like those records were huge.
Yeah.
And they defined like an entire moment. But going to bring it back to Kris Kross and Bow Wow as well, because he created music for kids.
Yeah.
That was like actually good music too, and not just like kids songs,
Right.
Kids bop or whatever.
Disney versions of rap songs.
Right. Like it was like real music for kids. And I remember seeing another interview where he was saying that there really isn't music for kids these days. And I never even thought about it. There aren't really a lot of young artists. Like the only like young artists I can think of in like contemporary times was like Chloe and Halle. Like, were there really any other, like in the last 10 years or so,
not that I can think of,
popular artists that were like, 14 to 18 when they came out? Like, I'm sure there was one or two that we don't know about, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like we had, like I said, Kris Kross and Bow Wow. He really brought that. We had, Aaliyah, Monica. Like there was just a lot of younger artists that we could relate to because we were literally the same age.
Yeah, I can't think of any.
Usher, that we've talked about so many times. These are people we literally grew up listening to because we grew with them.
I saw him say something about the emancipation of Mimi and how he's really proud of the fact that even though he did like only half the album, all the stuff from the album you kind of equate to him.
Right.
And so much so that you kind of give him credit for her career, even though she had sold 30 million records before that. He was like, she would have been fine without me. But the fact that people associate me with her is something that he's really proud of. And it's the same thing with Usher's album. Like Confessions, he did 6 songs on it. But when you think about Usher, you think about the songs that him and Jermaine did.
Right.
And that's really big for somebody to be able to pull something off like that on albums of that scale.
I think what's really interesting with him too is like he did everything. Like he wrote the songs, or at least co-wrote, and like he produced, he made the beats, he would do like what's it called, reference tracks and stuff. Like he was really hands-on.
I want to hear a lot of those reference tracks. He said it's never going to happen, but there's a lot of them that I want to hear.
Because I remember Tank was trying to get him to sing something when he mentioned, he's like, no.
Yeah, I want to hear some of that. Yeah, he was able to take like his real life messiness and make these songs that people could relate to. I
mean, that's really, I'd say, a big part of why Jermaine Dupri is still relevant, because his music feels authentic.
Yeah, it's his story, but he makes you believe that it's somebody else's story.
Or our story.
It's somebody's story, not his.
We can take little pieces of it or feel something we can relate to.
Yeah. When you talk about all the big name producers and there's a full list of people that get pulled out before you even mention Jermaine's name. You talk about a Dr. Dre. You talk about Timberland, Pharrell and the Neptunes, the sex pest that's in prison. Actually, the two sex pests in prison all get mentioned as songwriters and producers before Jermaine Dupri does. Mm-hmm. But none of them have the hits that he does. He's got 13 number one Billboard hits.
And that's just number one.
That's just number one.
Like the 2s and the 3s and the 10s and whatever.
Yeah. Right before we started recording, I saw a list where Billboard has him as number 9 on the top producers on the Hot 100 for all genres and number 1 for R&B hip hop. So he's starting to get his flowers now.
Right.
And people are realizing that, hey, he kind of got something over there. Because all of the other ones, like a Dre, he does R&B, but he ain't got no R&B hits.
He doesn't have a We Belong Together.
Yeah, Dre ain't got that. Timbaland kind of straddles the lines, but he don't have a number one hit like that. The Neptunes, they're close as well, but they don't have a We Belong Together or Confessions. So a lot of people who get the accolades are close, but they don't have the results. And yeah, I think he should get more respect. Is there anything else you would like to add about Mr. Jermaine Dupri?
I mean, not really. Just get into it if you don't know his history. It's fast.
Yeah, we will be putting up the playlist, like I said, so go ahead and check that out. I'm sure you're going to hear some songs that you completely forgot about or didn't even know about.
Like the one with Keith Sweat.
Like the one with Keith Sweat or the 2 on Aretha Franklin's album.
Okay.
You got songs with Aretha Franklin.
All right.
So, yeah, that's a good place for us to wrap this up. Thank you again. What?
I just had a thought.
What'd you have a thought about?
Maybe a producer that is closer to Jermaine Dupri would be Teddy Riley.
Yeah.
In terms of, I know we're trying to close up shop here, but I had a thought and I just had to say it.
Yeah.
In terms of actually being able to do all the different things.
Yeah, he's another one who doesn't get the respect that he deserves either. And that's why we did not 1, but 2 episodes about him, because his career was that long.
Right.
So
just wanted to point that out, but we are celebrating Jermaine Dupri in this episode. So let's close it up with that.
Exactly. So thank you again for listening to They Reminisce Over You. We took some time off, but now we're back. So check us out every 2 weeks right here in your ear holes. You can go to troypodcast.com to check out some transcripts. Look for the playlist. If you want to buy some merch, you can go to teethang.com. That's our store. Nothing but a Teethang. TEETHANG.com.
You did it.
I did. Go get yourself a t-shirt or a hat or something. We also have a monthly newsletter called Liner Notes. It comes out, like I said, once a month. It's stuff that we're watching, listening to, reading, fun stuff, wacky stuff. It's a good newsletter. If I didn't write it, I would still read it, so you should too.
I don't write it, and I read it.
Exactly. So at troypodcast.com/newsletter, it'll drop in your inbox first week of the month. So go ahead and do that. And we're going to get out of here.
For once, we're not starving.
We're not starving because we ate before we recorded tonight.
Yeah, so you will not hear any stomach growling.
Exactly. All right, we out.
Bye.